Well, to begin with objects, I am going to create my first object, and that's going to be a barbarian. And so, yeah, I have played Clash of Clans, and what I'd like to do is create just a barbarian that has some health points, or hit points if you will, and just as any video game would have for a character. So, it's important to realize that I have a class called Barbarian, because that's what this object is going to be. And in order to create an actual character, it seems a little bit different in any other programming that has been done so far, but you're going to go public barbarian. Now notice, this is very important to realize that this name of this this is called a constructor method. It also needs my parentheses here. But the name of this constructor method is the same as the name of my class. That's the very first thing that you have to make sure you have down when it comes to creating objects. Okay, this is going to be a method. Now notice I say method, and you notice the parentheses afterwards because that's just the big hint that you have a method. Remember, method is like a mini program that does something for you. And this method is going to construct or build a barbarian object. And the way that Java knows that that's what it's going to do is that the name of this method is the same as the name of the class. So there's a key thing. Number one is make sure that the name of the method is the same as the name of the class. Okay, well, this is basically my barbarian object creator, if you will. And so what I need to do is not in the method, because the method is going to be the builder, but outside that method I need to know what variables that object is going to have. And so I'm going to start with just a simple HP variable. So every barbarian, the class name, or all objects are going to be barbarian objects. They're all going to have a characteristic. They're all going to have an integer variable called HP, so I can track how many hit points or health points it has. And this is called an instance variable. Every time I create a barbarian, I'm going to have an instance of this class. It's kind of like this class gets recreated over and over and over again. You can think of it that way. And so this is the variable that every barbarian is going to have. It's going to have HP. Now the constructor needs to build the barbarian. And so every time I build a barbarian, I need to assign an HP level. And so I'm going to say HP equals 45 for an original barbarian. Okay. And notice I have no errors here. Everything is clean. I have a class that is declaring what type of objects I'm going to build. I'm going to build barbarian objects. Every barbarian object is going to have HP. And for now, when I construct a barbarian or build a barbarian, it's going to assign the HP level to 45. Now, this is a very, very basic constructor. So right now I have a barbarian, and this can just build me barbarian after barbarian. And to show you how that works, I will create my main method. Remember, our public static void main is basically our program that will run when we execute or run our code. And inside there, what I need to do is build. Now, it's important that you know either a scanner object. You don't have to know it in this case, but I have taught it in previous videos. And if you remember right, scanner, name of scanner, remember we can call it anything we want. And we do new, and we want a new scanner, and we would go system.in. And then we know that scanners have to have an import statement to use them. Java.util, it's a utility object, and that's how we build a scanner. Now, it's important to realize that if you're familiar with the scanner, that a scanner was an actual object. It was a physical scanning object, like a scanner, a printer, scanner, fax machine. It's a machine that was built here. And the reason it worked was because Java just has that feature. But this code scanner said, I want to build a scanner object, and I want to name it name of scanner. So now it's important to realize when we build a barbarian, we start with the word barbarian. That's the type of object we want to build. So we built a scanner before, and now we want to build a barbarian. And before we named our scanner, and right now we want to name our barbarian, and I'm just going to call him, I'll call it barb1. Okay, equals, so build me a barbarian object named barb1. And here, remember when we built our scanner, we need to make a new scanner, so I need to make a new barbarian. And lo and behold, we have it. Notice the errors are gone because I completed that line. The whole way that we create a barbarian is directly related to the way that a scanner object is created. The scanner object needed a parameter called system.in because it needed to take in some information from the system, from the user. Where barbarian does not need any parameters currently because every barbarian that we create doesn't need to know anything. It just automatically has HP level of 45 set. So now what we can do is we need to realize that we have a barbarian in memory called barb1, and I am going to just show you that it exists. So what I want to do is I'm going to print something about barb1. So barb1 is the object. Now what I want to do is I want to go within barb1 and I want to see what's inside there. And the only thing the barb1 has right now is an HP level. So I'm going to go barb1 dot. So look at barb1 and tell me what its HP level is. That's what I want. So it's going to print me here the number 45 because it says here's the object you want to look at. Look at the barb1 object. And once you look at it, would you look inside of it and see what HP equals? So I'll run this code and just show you here that the output is going to be 45 because it is printing the barb level, the HP level of 45. So that's kind of neat how that works. What we've just done, and you think about it, is we've created a barbarian. It's an actual physical barbarian in memory, which right now holds an HP level of 45. And so that's just the basic framework in creating all objects. Okay, the class is the object name. You have to have this constructor method which builds every single barbarian, and you have to have what characteristics you want each barbarian to have. Notice I assigned that HP 45 when I built the barbarian. So I'm going to take this one step further, and since I do enjoy the game, I know that barbarians can have different levels, and as they advance in levels, they become much stronger, of course. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to build inside this constructor. I'm going to say if current level is equal to 1. Okay, if it's equal to 1, I'm going to set HP equal to 45 because that's a level 1 barbarian. Okay. Else, if current level equals 2, then I'm going to set the HP level to 54. Okay, now I'm not going to go through tons of levels. Maybe I'll just go with 3. Else, if current level equals 3, HP is going to equal 65. Okay, now I have errors, but you should know why I have errors in this code right now. You should know it's because current level is some variable I'm using, but I have never actually declared it. And so what current level is going to be is I need to know what level this barbarian is that we're creating. And so what needs to happen is now the barbarian constructor, the builder of all barbarians, needs to know something. The builder of all barbarians needs to know what level to build. And so it needs a parameter, and parameters are the things that go right in the parentheses here. So it needs to know the current level in order for this to work. Now I still have never declared or said anything about current level and how to use it. but current level is an integer. Okay, so now my errors all go away. Notice it says, okay, in order for me to build a barbarian, I need to know an integer called current level. So now the barbarian, if you notice down in my bottom, here when I build the barbarian, I now have an error. And the error is occurring because it doesn't know how to build it. Because now when it goes to build a barbarian, it goes up to the constructor, the builder, right here. And it says, well, in order for me to build it, I need a number. I need an integer to work. I need a 1, 2, or 3 here. And so I'm going to come down here and build a barbarian of level 3. And now my error goes away because it knows what to do. It says, okay, I'm going to build you a barbarian. I'm going to call it barb1. And I'm going to build it where I'm going to pass the number 3 up here to the builder. And it says, oh, that's an integer. The current level is now 3. And so I'll run through here where the current level is 3. And this barbarian is going to have an HP of 65. So just to show that there's a difference here, I'm going to create another barbarian. And I'll call it barb2. And I'm going to, there we go, create a new barbarian. And this barbarian, I'm going to make a level 1 barbarian. Alright, so now we have 2 barbarians in memory. And I will add 2 output statements here so that we can take a look and see that it's actually working. So I'm going to create the HP on barbarian 2. So we have an output statement to look at barbarian 1. Look at barbarian 1. Okay, we look at barbarian 1 and remember it is a level 3 barbarian. Okay, so a level 3 barbarian, take a look at its HP, it should be 65. Look at the second barbarian, and that's a level 1 barbarian, and its HP then should be 45. So our output should be 65 for the first barbarian and 45 for the second barbarian. And I will run that here. And there we have the output, which is, I'm having a problem with my output on my screen here. Try this one more time and see if I can get that to work. That's off my screen. The output is 65 and 45. If you don't trust me, don't believe me, there you go, right there. So 65 and 45. So now you're starting to figure out how to create actual objects and actual items, and maybe you can start to see that this becomes very useful because now we can have multiple barbarians, and as we get into more sophisticated programming in the future, you could actually build camps of barbarians, and you can have armies of barbarians and things like that of that nature. So hope that helps you at least begin to understand how to build objects and physical items, and to get you to see that we're headed in a direction here where we can start to build some very useful things, especially when it comes to programming objects and programming things that need characteristics.